Good afternoon, folks. Welcome to the Digital Weather Desk powered by Century Next Bank. I'm Jared Floyd, a little bit after lunchtime on this Thursday, and we're still watching the shower activity that is expected to move through the area through the rest of the day. Today's forecast made possible by Surf Pro. 3 locations across the area to serve you: Shreveport, Monroe, West Monroe, and Natchez. Call or click surfpro.com today for more. The visible satellite shows our cloud cover, which does have some breaks in those clouds, especially along the Mississippi Valley, and we are feeling those breaks with a lot of areas into the mid-70s this afternoon. Your radar is always made possible by Brown's Roofing. You can schedule your free roof inspection at brownsroofingla.com. And most of our shower activity has been scattered and really confined to southern Arkansas so far, at least during the daytime hours today. We had some early morning rainfall along the Mississippi Valley. Most of what we're seeing from El Dorado up the Ouachita River toward Camden and stretching over into Calhoun County, most of this is very, very light and quite scattered, but I would expect it to increase in coverage to a certain degree as we head through the rest of the afternoon. Rain chances generally hovering at around 40%. Latest forecasts can be found at digitalweatherdesk.com and on the Digital Weather Desk app. I just uploaded those numbers about 5-10 minutes ago with the latest updates. Cold front is not as easily picked out as you take a look at temperatures across the Deep South. 80 currently in Baton Rouge, 78 in New Orleans, 75 in Lake Charles, but you can kind of see the boundary a little bit more so when you look at dew points. The drier air with dew points in the 20s, 30s, 40s to the northwest, 60s ahead of the boundary, helping to feed the rain chances as we go through the remainder of the day. And again, it's a pretty pronounced stream of shallow moisture that's moved back in over the last 36 hours that sets the stage for some rain chances for the rest of the afternoon. Mid to upper 60s for the most part, but low to mid 70s along the Mississippi Valley. Natchez just dropped from 74 back down to 73. It's 75 in Vicksburg. Again, quite the warm afternoon, clearly. And all these areas that are in the 70s are also seeing quite a bit of sunshine, and they're also farther out ahead of the front. So they're not seeing as many of those impacts. The winds have been breezy out of the southwest. We expected them generally in the 10 to 15 mile an hour range. We're actually getting some sustained winds in the 15 to 20 mile an hour range, and gusts have ranged as high as 30 miles per hour in some locations. So again, if you step outside, don't be surprised that this upper disturbance that's driving through the area doesn't necessarily have a lot of deep layered moisture to work with, but it is the pressure gradient at the surface is to the point where we are starting to see those breezy southwesterly winds kick up, and behind the boundary, at least to a certain degree, some breezy northwesterly winds to start the evening. Those winds should die down relatively quickly. Futurecast made possible by Bayou Power Sports I-20 frontage road in Monroe shows that front advancing quickly off to the east today. High pressure settles in rather rapidly through the day on Friday. Lots of sunshine, a little bit cooler. Most of this hasn't really changed in theory, in essence, since when I left you this morning. But we have tweaked the rain chances just a tad, especially for Saturday night and Sunday morning, and especially in the southern counties and parishes. Next front arrives in the area Saturday night. Again, this is a little bit of a wrinkle in the forecast compared to where we were yesterday. That boundary makes some decent progress, but likely stalls along the I-10 corridor, and it could be the focal point of scattered pesky showers through the early parts of next week, Sunday, Monday specifically. I think by Tuesday and into Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, high pressure ridging aloft really zaps any rain chances out of the forecast. And speaking of ridging aloft, here's a look at the upper level winds, and our trough of low pressure that's driving the forecast right now kicks out pretty quickly off to the east. And then you can see our next little trough axis that's just kind of left in place starting through the day on Saturday. That's where that weak cold front comes into play. And then the upper level pattern, again, still leaves at least parts of this little trough axis in place through the rest of the weekend and early parts of next week. What does that really mean to you? It means that front, that weak front that arrives this weekend, could stall and provide a focal point to cloud cover and rain chances. Not a lot of soaking rain chances, not a lot of significant changes to the forecast, but it could at least provide a wrinkle in the forecast, keeping cloud cover in for our southern counties and parishes through the end parts of the weekend. Once we get beyond that, high pressure starts to build aloft. Not only does it build aloft, but it also gets stronger. So you have this big hump in the jet stream out over the central United States, the lower Mississippi Valley, the western Gulf Coast region, All these areas look very warm and dry as this, we call it during the summertime, a big heat dome. And you'll probably hear it referred to as such during the wintertime months. Obviously, it's not bringing triple-digit temperatures, but it's probably bringing 70s into some areas, not necessarily in our region, but across the southern United States, could bring 80-degree readings for Christmas Day. This is for Tuesday. As we go into Wednesday, Thursday, again, that high-pressure ridge continues to migrate slowly eastward, but is still the kind of dominating feature in the forecast. But you start seeing a deeper trough of low pressure carving out over the Intermountain West. That is the beginnings of what will likely be a storm system that impacts us to some degree sometime between Christmas Day and New Year's Day. Specifics are very, very much unclear at this point, nor would we really expect to see any specifics during this stretch. Temperature outlook in the next 6 to 10 days points at above average, a high confidence of above average temperatures for Christmas Eve and beyond. The 6 to 10 day precip outlook shows below average precip, but I will also acknowledge that the 8 to 14 day outlook starts to trend us toward equal chances of a above average or below average precip, and that's probably kind of hinting toward that storm system that impacts us sometime between Christmas and New Year. Not a lot's changed in the forecast from where I left you this morning. Bump daytime highs up just a little bit to near 70, which is just a few degrees from where we were this morning. Bump the rain chances up a tad, at least for some locations. Winds will be breezy out of the south-southwest. Kept them at 10 to 15 mile an hour, 10 to 15 miles an hour. But obviously, there's some spots that'll be a little bit warmer than, a little bit breezier than that. Overnight lows tonight, upper 30s, mid 30s are still a possibility for some. Winds will be out of the northwest, 5 to 10. Look at the 7-day forecast made possible by 3B Hardware. Again, not a whole lot out there here in the short term, but the rain chances are back in late Saturday. Could linger for the southern counties and parishes on Sunday, perhaps even into Monday. In fact, if you go to digitalweatherdesk.com or on the app and you look at your specific location's forecast, and if you're in the southern counties and parishes, those rain chances are much more noticeable for Saturday night, Sunday, and Monday. Instead of seeing 20 and 10% rain chances, there's a lot of 30s and 20s. So, again, we work it back into the forecast for the end parts of the weekend. Early half of next week looks dry. And Christmas Eve, Christmas Day also look very warm, above average for this time of year in terms of specific numbers, generally low to mid 70s, morning lows in the upper 50s to near 60. Could things change with that part of the forecast? It's possible. I don't really anticipate it, just simply because the upper level pattern has been pretty persistent on what we're going to run into for much of Christmas week. Beyond that, changes are in store, but we don't really want to get into the specifics there because specifics are prone to a lot of errors in the 10 to 14 day time frame. All right, that's how things shape up for midday on this, Thursday, week before Christmas, December 18th. Forecast, again, is always available at digitalweatherdesk.com and on the Digital Weather Desk app. Available for Apple and Android users. I'll join you a little bit later today with another look at the forecast. Fishing game comes out later tonight. We've got some Christmas record statistics that I'll share with you a little bit later today as we continue to march toward Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Check out the forecast at the website or on the app. I'll join you later today. Thanks so much for making this part of your day, and thanks so much for stopping by the Digital Weather Desk, powered by Century Next Bank. We're so glad you're here. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Stay dry out there.